I discovered the secret for selling pixel art asset packs online. And it's weird for me to say because I am not an artist, but my pixel art has made me enough money in sales to pay for a small vacation. For a whole year on itch, I basically got 0 sales, and then I noticed something that I think most creators on itch.io don't realize. After I changed the way I work, my revenue increased by more than 5 times. I'm a hobby game developer, and I'm talking really simple, small 2D games built in Godot. And it was about 6 months or so into my game development journey that I realized actually that as fun as the coding was and building systems was fun, it was the pixel art and creating the environments and the worlds of the game that is what I truly enjoyed. And so I made the decision about where my place was in game development, and I realized that was in pixel art. But then I faced a dilemma because I realized that for the pace I was making games and always trying new things and different genres and different styles, it would be very, very time consuming to make pixel art or art for all of the different games that I wanted to create. So here was what I thought was my genius solution. And try to understand the logic here because I know it's a stretch, but I decided to sell some pixel art online on itch.io. I would use then the proceeds from selling that pixel art to buy more pixel art from other artists who honestly I considered better than me. And then that would create this kind of circular pixel art economy where people would buy my single pack that I produced, and then I could invest those funds to buy other packs that would suit all of my different games. And up until this moment, I'd never even drawn pixel art before. And the way I learned to make pixel art was not glamorous. Probably like most people, I just went online, looked up how to make pixel art. And I just got to grips with some of the fundamentals and techniques because I knew that with pixel art, there are some rules, and I wanted to be sure I was at least following the rules when I was drawing my own sprites. My art wasn't great, but I wanted to get started, so I quickly pivoted to building my own pack and just learned as I go. The first pixel art asset pack I built was called Moonlit Dungeon. And I put it up on itch.io for sale, and then nothing happened. And honestly, a couple of weeks went by, there was really no traction. There was a couple of sales, but it was quite demoralizing after the amount of time and effort that went into building the pack. So in order to improve my sales, I asked myself, well, who is the customer for this asset pack and what do they want from it? And it was easy for me to answer after a little bit of thought because I am the customer. I am the hobby game dev that is on itch.io, frequently buying asset packs. So I should have asked myself that question a lot earlier. And here's what I realized. When a game developer is buying an asset pack on itch.io or any other asset store, they're not looking for just decoration. They're looking for the building blocks to complete their entire game. You wouldn't buy a Lego set if there wasn't enough blocks in the Lego to build what's on the picture on the front. A game developer needs a complete package of tiles, multiple levels, probably enemies and a player, tools, a UI. If everything is in the pack, then that will sell to a developer. If things are missing and they can't make a complete game or at least a complete level from your asset pack, then it will not sell. And this is what took me 12 months to discover with Moonlit Dungeon. And I should have discovered this so much more quickly because I was actually doing it myself already with Moonlit Dungeon. When I made the pack, I would actually build a little game in Godot. And there's 3 reasons why I did that really. One was because it allowed me to check that everything went together cohesively, all of the tiles and so on. 2, it allowed me to keep practiced in game dev. And then 3, it allowed me to create really nice screenshots and GIFs of the asset pack being used. But it also allowed me to evaluate, is this asset pack enough to create a full level. And I was about to start implementing all my learnings in a big way online. But there's something quite counterintuitive about selling pixel art, at least for game dev asset packs. It's quantity over quality. Here's what made my mind up on that. Someone reached out to me and they asked me, why do I think that their pixel art isn't selling? And when I looked at it at first glance, it had 10 out of 10 art. It was absolutely fantastic. The art was way better than my own, honestly. But it was only enough to make one corner of a level. Again, it was dungeon art, but the animations were fantastic and so on. But there was only a few props. There was no character, there was no enemies, there was no UI elements, there was barely any variations of anything. And although the art was fantastic, the quantity wasn't there. So I got back to work. I made a new asset pack called Moonlit Forest. This was an expansion of Moonlit Dungeon. I improved the characters with loads more movesets. I added more enemies, I added a UI. Then I added another Moonlit level, and this time it was Moonlit Swamp. I put all of those packs together in a bundle on itch.io, and the sales went up exponentially. Because now a game developer can make an entire platform game just from that one asset pack bundle, and everything stays cohesive. Moonlit Dungeon on its own was a great asset pack, but it was never enough to make an entire game. The Moonlit series was still a pretty niche product with the 2D platformer tile set and the really specific color palette. So I started to think about what the market wants in terms of asset packs. And I settled on top-down 2D RPG style assets with quite a lively color palette and a cute style. The kind of asset pack that you would see used in a lot of game jams and prototypes and things like that. Speaking of which, I recently entered the Godot Wild Jam myself, and I actually came second, something I was really proud of, and I'll be making a video about that soon. So if you've not already subscribed, please do take the time to subscribe, and if you're enjoying the content, please like the video because it really helps me grow. But the point is, the style I landed on was cute, top-down, colourful assets. The exact opposite of the Moonlit series. And I'll be honest, I noticed that the market I was entering in this top-down 2D cute style was very saturated. But I now had a framework and I knew what game developers wanted. And so I got to work and built with that mindset from the very first day. My first asset pack in this series was called Pocket Dungeon. It had a top-down full tile set, a playable character, enemies, items, everything a game developer would need to make a complete level. And that was non-negotiable. Before I shipped it, I made sure to build the scene myself in Godot to test everything, make sure everything looked perfect, and made sure that everything you needed was in the pack. I then used this mock-up to make the screenshots for the sales page. As soon as it was done, I got to work on Pocket Forest, then Pocket Village, then I got to work on Pocket Cemetery, and just last month I released Pocket Beach, just in time for the summer. I put them together in a bundle on itch.io so anyone who wanted to buy them all can get a really nice price. So let me pull out what I actually learned, not the story of the pixel art, but the actual principles behind selling it. This is the stuff that I wish I'd have known 18 months ago. Number one, don't sell pixel art, sell the ability to make a game. People buying on the asset store aren't necessarily fans of art, they're fans of building games. So sell that ability to them. Many people browsing there have probably had a game idea in their head for 2 years. And then when they see your pack, it should allow them to have the feeling that they could finally make the game they wanted to make. Don't sell them the art, sell them that feeling. Lesson 2 is beautiful and useless is still useless. And when I made Moonlit Dungeon, and it's probably my favorite asset pack I ever made. I've got a real soft spot for it. I think it's so good looking. But if it doesn't give the developer everything that they need to build their level or their game, then it's still useless. Lesson 3 is that bundles are a multiplier. And it's not just because they increase the average price of your sale, but it's because they solve that problem of completeness. When you have a bundle, you're probably giving the developer everything that they need. And that's probably the difference between a sale and a pass. Try to think about how your products work together. And if somebody bought it, what would they still be missing? If you can identify that, then go and make it. That will move the needle for me more than anything else in my whole 2 years of selling pixel art. So the secret to selling pixel art online, to me, is don't think like an artist, think like a game developer. And once I understood that, really understood it, then everything else followed. I more than 5 times my revenue from pixel art, and it means now that I can just keep going and buying more pixel art for when I want to make my own games in an art style, not my own. If you'd like to check out my pixel art asset packs, I'll link them down below. Feel free to check them out. In a future video, I think I'll go through my earnings on itch.io line by line and be really transparent so you can see everything. So if you haven't subscribed, please do so. If the video was useful or you enjoyed it, please leave a like, and I'll see you on the next one.